March 2019 was one of the biggest months Dragon Ball Legends had ever seen. We got the very first legendary finish unit, Red Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, as well as Dragon Ball Super Gogeta's late but crazy arrival. So let's take a look at all of that in today's Legends History episode. The month of March started with the very first Legends Battle Royale, an entirely new PvP event format. The event ran from March 6 to March 13, 2019, and it was the first time Bandai tried a structured tournament system inside the game. Unlike regular ranked PvP, the Battle Royale had fixed time slots every day, where players could fight during specific 2-hour windows to earn something called Battle Royale Power. Whoever accumulated the most by the end of the event and met the ranking conditions would receive an invitation to the first ever showdown in Las Vegas tournament that May, which was pretty huge because that meant that Legends had officially entered the world of real competitive events, with an in-game qualifier that could actually lead you to an official in-person tournament. But what made that mode stand out even more was its battle format. Every character was automatically set to level 2000, 7 stars, and fully soul boosted, regardless of your box. So that meant that even free-to-play players could compete evenly against Wells, since there was no stat or star advantage. It was purely skill-based. Well, you still needed to pull the units, but unlike regular PvP, all you needed was one copy. You also needed entry tickets to participate, which were given daily, and you could use up to 3 per day. The system was simple: win matches, steal your opponent's battle royale power, and climb the ladder. It was a pure test of skill, reaction time, and team building. But as amazing as it was, the first battle royale wasn't without problems. Matchmaking took a long time, especially during off hours, since players couldn't be paired with bots. Sometimes it could take 10, even 20 minutes to find a single match, and the worst part is that within hours of the event launching, some players discovered a disconnect exploit, a simple trick that could force your opponent's match to count as a loss even if they won. Something very similar to the disconnect bug Legends had a couple of months prior. And bro, it spread fast. Within a day, the whole Battle Royale was flooded with disconnect cheaters. Thankfully, Bandai responded quickly, announcing new real-time anti-cheat measures during the event itself. They started monitoring all matches live, and anyone detected deliberately lagging, disconnecting, or exploiting the system immediately lost access for that day, and repeat offenders were fully banned from the event after 3 strikes. But even that fix was an issue because the system wasn't perfect. Some players were banned from the event after accidental crashes or random disconnects, so some players actually got wrongfully banned from the event. Still, despite all of that, the concept behind the Battle Royale was incredibly well received. It gave everyone a glimpse of what a fair, skill-based Legends PvP system could look like. No equip or star advantage, just pure player versus player combat. This event also came with a really cool addition that was called the LBR mode, Limit Break Regulations, in friend battles, letting you fight your friends using the same level, 2000 fully soul boosted, 7-star stead up as the official Battle Royale. It was a great way to practice in a completely balanced environment, and a feature many players hoped would stay permanently. Around the same time, a few other minor updates dropped alongside the event. The Part 3 Book 4 of the story mode was added, continuing the game's storyline. The rare medal exchange shop was updated, refreshing some older items and raising equipment's limits. They brought back multiple events for players who missed them, giving them another chance to farm specific equips. And we also got another PvP season, bringing back the Sacred Water equip. Right as the first Legends Battle Royale was wrapping up, Bandai started teasing something new on social media, and this one had the entire community on edge. They launched a global Twitter campaign where players had to complete both in-game and social media objectives, things like retweets, likes, and in-game story clears, to earn Master Packs 2 summon tickets. Each completed mission gave 1 ticket, and if all 9 goals were met, everyone would get 3 sparking 30% tickets. The rewards were good, yes, but the real reason why this piqued the whole community's interest was because of the image hidden behind the missions. Each time a goal was cleared, part of a hidden picture was revealed underneath. At first, it just looked like a random golden glow, but as more sections unlocked, we got the full picture, and it was Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's father-son Kamehameha. The sheer amount of hype, this single image generated was just something else, because we already had Super Senzu Gohan in game. Sure, not the father-son Kamehameha Gohan, but Super Senzu Gohan. So why would they make a whole teaser just to tease a character we already had in game? Well, that's only if he was going to release as some sort of new rarity or with a new mechanic or something like that. And then, a few days later, the reveal finally dropped. A brand new step up summon banner featuring the first ever legendary finish unit, Super Senzu Gohan. He was locked behind special guaranteed sparking tickets, just like Beerus, which you could only earn by completing full step up rotations. Every 2 rotation gave 2 guaranteed tickets, and Gohan had about a 20% pull rate on that separate ticket banner. And even though the format was terrible, something that was made very clear by the player base with Beerus' release, everyone pretty much agreed that Super Senzu Gohan was one of the hypest releases in the game's history so far. The first ever legendary finish animation was just something else at the time. It was easily one of the most jaw-dropping animations Legends had ever produced. Like bro, in Dokkan we had a PNG going up and down, and Legends had a full-on 3D animated cinematic experience, with probably better rates than Int LR Super Senzu Gohan's initial release. And 2 days later, the moment everyone had been waiting for finally arrived. The first ever legendary finish unit was here. The Legends Step Up Volume 2 banner dropped with 3 new characters: Perfect Cell, Lord Slug, and the star of the show, 11th Super Senzu Gohan. 11th Super Senzu Gohan was a red range type unit built to be a pure last man standing monster. The moment one of your allies went down, Gohan started stacking buffs like crazy. His main ability drew his iconic father-son Kamehameha, restored 30% of his HP, gave him ki, and even nullified unfavorable color disadvantage. And if a Goku on your team died, he gained 100% ultimate damage, turning him into one of the deadliest units in this game's history. His ultimate arts card literally became a second Rising Rush, and his blue cards were literal nukes, doing just so much damage. It was crazy. His other unique ability also reduced the cost of his blast cards, while giving him so many buffs and more defense against characters from the regen type. So yeah, Gohan was just insane. But was he number 1? Honestly, from what I remember, it was still debatable, as he needed more setup than, let's say, Broly or the New Cell, but he was definitely the strongest individual damage dealer in the game, for sure. Perfect Cell was a yellow melee type unit with one of the most broken defensive and utility kits the game had ever seen. His main ability drew his Solar Kamehameha and completely ignored enemy cover change damage cut for 30 timer counts, which was insane at the time. On top of that, he sealed one of your opponent's card slots every time he entered the battlefield, which could easily shut down combos or even block a Rising Rush if you got lucky. He also had a cover rescue mechanic, the same one as Ultimate Gohan or the Green Person Goku, meaning he could cancel pretty much everything in the game. His Solar Kamehameha had the chance to feint, and his green card launched a Ki Blast that had priority over almost every action in the game, all while increasing his strike damage and making your enemy's strike cards cost an additional 20 Ki. Brother, this was just ridiculous. 20 more Ki is just insane. So if you weren't careful, Cell could lock you out completely. They could literally just couldn't do anything. This guy was just insane, and probably the best unit in the game at the time, especially because of how ridiculous the regen team was. Lord Slug. When this guy first dropped, he didn't get much attention, but that changed fast once players realized how oppressive he could be. He was a blue melee type unit. His green card had a 30% chance of stealing one of your opponent's Dragon Balls and start a combo immediately afterward. It was basically a built-in Rising Rush delay. I still remember players pairing him with Captain Ginyu or Dodoria to constantly farm green cards and steal Dragon Balls over and over. Like, this was just crazy, and also surprisingly not that bad. Then his blue card had a 40% chance to paralyze, turning any hit into a potential death sentence. His first unique ability then scaled his strike damage based on his HP, gaining up to 50% when low, which combined with his second unique ability, giving him even more strike damage. Yeah, this guy was a late game monster. Purple Extreme Trunks was a melee type unit, and while most players overlooked him, he was surprisingly solid. His main ability boosted his card draw speed while lowering the enemy's card draw speed, and and destroyed everyone's hand, both his and his opponents, which actually gave him a strong reset potential. Like imagine destroying both players' hands and then lowering the card draw speed of the opponent while raising yours. Like this was a pretty strong combo. He also had bonus strike damage against the regen tag, which made him a decent quote-unquote budget unit to counter Cell and Slug if you didn't have better options. Extreme Red Tien was a support type unit, who honestly was one of the better extreme supports of the time. His main ability buffed allies' strike damage by 40% and reduced the enemy's card draw speed, while his green card stunned the opponent and destroyed all of their strike cards. He wasn't a damage dealer, but he had great utility, early game buffs, team support, and solid disruption. So yeah, this banner was, as you would guess, a must summon, even though Gogeta was on the way. Like the banner was just too stacked to skip. And alongside the new banner, dropped the 20 million download celebration, which included a Goku Everyday free summon campaign that handed out free tickets every day that you could then use to summon on a special Goku banner that only featured Goku units, including God Goku and Kaioken Goku, so it was cool if you were still missing them, and you sell event with the first ever unique equipment, who was for, guess who? Green Beerus? Like, brother. This guy was so trash that they gave him a unique equip not even 3 months after his initial release. But yeah, he was now finally somewhat viable on the God KT. Right after the crazy hype of 11th Gohan, we got some V-Jump leaks. It was confirmed that 3 new characters were on the way: GT Super Saiyan Goku, GT Super Saiyan Vegeta, and Hyper Metal Rildo. Obviously not the hypest thing in the world, but the scans confirmed that all 3 units were part of an upcoming Ultra Space Time banner. But yeah, the biggest reveal here wasn't even the characters. It was the first ever mention of the Ultra Space Time Rush. The scan teased it as a very difficult new event, where each stage would have unique rules, including one where you could only use each character once. That single sentence got the entire community speculating. People were saying it would finally be the PvE endgame mode Legends needed, a challenge for players with deep boxes full of fully trained and soul boosted characters. At the time, nobody knew exactly when it would release, but it was already shaping up to be one of the most anticipated updates of the year. Little did we know, bro. Little did we know. Right after the V-Jump leaks, Legends got another content update. First off, a brand new PvP season, and this one introduced a new Hybrid Saiyan exclusive equip that instantly became a must-have for 11th Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. The equip boosted strike defense, blast attack, and strike attack, giving him even more damage. And since Gohan was heavily blast based, having that extra strike damage actually helped him quite a lot. Alongside that, Bandai made small daily mission adjustments, forcing players back into PvP. You now had to win at least 1 PvP match per day and upgrade an equip to complete your daily missions, which obviously forced players to interact more with the game's core systems. And honestly, this kind of sucks for players like me who played Legends for the PvE. Like, I wasn't touching PvP even at the time, so. We then had the second half of the Cell event, introducing 2 new equips. One was for extreme purple characters, and like every extreme equip, it was stacked: 25% to both defenses, 25% to both attacks, and 12% HP. This was obviously just completely cracked. Easily the best equip in the game for purple extreme units. The second one was for blue regeneration characters and was a decent defensive equip, but not nearly as good as the previous one, obviously. They then, 2 days later, showed the official top 20 character rankings from the previous PvP season, and 6 of the top 10 units were either regen tag units or worked perfectly against them, so it was clear that the regen team had completely taken over PvP. At the top of the list we had Zamasu, Lord Slug, and Perfect Cell, all of whom had dropped within just the last few weeks. And I remember that players were starting to complain that the game was starting to feel pretty bad. Yeah, the meta wasn't in a good spot. Like, it didn't matter what team you built. You were either playing regen or trying to counter the regen with regen. That's literally how the meta was at the time. Think about it, bro. The anti-regen team was literally another regen team. Which just tells you everything you need to know about the state of the meta. Like, bro, 11th Super Saiyan 2 Gohan was the 14th most played character in PvP. Like, sure, he was obviously harder to pull than like a regular Sparkin, but still, you would expect the first 11th character to at least be in the top 5 or bare minimum 10. Like, this was just insane. Legends then started teasing the next big update on Twitter, giving us a new hint every day and a teaser of the next big unit the day before the update. Yeah, Dragon Ball Super Gogeta was on the way. The month ended with one of Legend's biggest updates to date, and the final collab banner of the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, which had its own Logadevonus campaign, and on the last day, it gave a cool Dragon Ball Super Broly costume to Charlotte. But the main highlight was obviously the arrival of Dragon Ball Super Gogeta. Gogeta started off in his base form as a blue range type unit, and after just 10 timer counts, his main ability let him transform into Super Saiyan Gogeta, restoring 40 ki and completely shifting his stats. Even before transforming, he was already pretty good. His unique ability increased the damage of his blue cards the longer he stayed on the field, scaling up to an additional 50% damage. And bro, his blue cards had blast armor and hit like a truck. But transformed, he was just something else. Once transformed, Gogeta's entire kit was just like, it was crazy. His main ability drew another blue card, healed him for 20% HP, and gave him 30% damage for 15 timer counts. His new blue card not only hit harder, but also locked the enemy from switching for 3 timer counts, which was just insane because, like I said, those blue cards hit like a truck. So combine that with locking, and yeah, this was just, I don't know what they were thinking. His green cards also got upgraded. It reduced his next blue card's cost by 20 and boosted its power by another 30%, turning his blue cards into mini nukes, like literally. But the craziest part is that his transformed unique ability gave him 100% blast damage against the enemies using blast armor. So if you're fighting characters like Broly or Cooler and they tried to tank through Gogeta's blast attacks with their blast armor, they would just get deleted instantly. But exactly what we needed at the time. On top of that, he had 40% damage when entering the battlefield, could restore ki by dodging with Vanish, and got another 70% special move damage if he stayed in the battle for long enough. All of those buffs combined made him a terrifying offensive unit, and officially brought back the Holy Trinity into the meta, with the new Gogeta, Super Saiyan Bardock, and Purple Broly. Alongside Gogeta, we got a brand new Legends Road event, introducing a Sparking Gotenks. He was a green defensive type unit. His main ability destroyed your entire hand and drew 4 new cards while healing him for 25%, letting you instantly reload during combos. He also increased card draw speed every time he entered the battlefield, and his blue cards reduced the enemy's strike defense while dealing solid damage. Gotenks' green cards then boosted his strike damage by 25%, and his blue cards had 20 less cost thanks to his second unique ability for the first 45 timer counts, which made him pretty crazy in the early game. He even offered defensive value when switched out, reducing damage received by 40% for 20 timer counts. And his event also came with some new equipments. They weren't anything crazy, but the Legends Road equip was pretty interesting, as it gave blast attack per Legends Road battle member, meaning that it could give a very interesting amount of stats to a Legends Road character on a full Legends Road team. So this could be interesting in the future. Now, as for the big update, it introduced the Ultra Space Time Rush, which was literally just Legends version of the Dokkan battlefield. You could only use each unit once per run, which meant having a big box of multiple units finally mattered, instead of just having a few meta-relevant characters. Like, I remember some players at the time just rerolling every single time a new major character dropped. I think some players still do that to this day, which honestly I guess I can understand. Like, if you reroll every time a new character drops, you just can't get shafted, so it's genuinely a valid strategy. Like, the first Ultra Space Time Rush event was, as far as I remember, so ridiculously difficult that even veteran players couldn't beat it at first. At least I know I wasn't able to fully finish it, and I had been playing since day one, but maybe I just sucked. But yeah, the mode had no energy cost, so you could retry it as much as you wanted, but to earn the best rewards, you needed to complete every challenge on each stage. Things like landing a Rise and Rush KO, or using a specific tag or element color. As for the rewards, they were honestly pretty decent, like tons of CC, tickets, and a new currency called the Rush Medals, which could be exchanged for exclusive awakening materials, and memories used for the newly introduced Equipment Awakening system. Because yes, you could now awaken equipments to push their stats beyond their original limits. For example, Beerus's unique equip could now go up to 40% strike attack instead of 30, making some previously decent equips absolutely broken. To awaken equipments, you needed memories that you could buy with the Rush Medals, along with high rarity fodder equipments and special fragments. It was a tedious grind, like something so bad that I can't even begin to describe with words. But the stat boosts were so significant that you unfortunately just had to do it if you wanted to compete in high rank PvP. On top of that, Bandai finally added a way to increase equipment slots, and though it came with a catch, they costed 3000 rare medals or Z medals per slot, which was just absolutely ridiculous at the time. Players immediately called it out for being way too expensive, but I guess it was still better than having no way to get more equipment slots. They also dropped a new Broly event with 2 new equipments, one for Fusion Warrior or Super Saiyans, boosting both defenses and blast attack while adding Ki recovery, and another for Blue Fusion Warriors, made specifically for the new Gogeta, buffing his strike defense, special move damage, and blast attack or defense. So some very decent equips. Now, this is it for today's video. In the next history video, we'll take a look at the less hype but pretty packed month. It introduced the first GT banner, a new Broly, and a Peppy Girls team that just completely broke PvP. But until then, take care, peace.